Let's jump right in and challenge, honestly, the biggest myth you've probably ever been taught. The idea that saving your pennies for 40 years and putting off your dreams until you're old and gray is the only way to achieve financial freedom. Well, what if there's a completely different road? Today, in this explainer, we're diving into MJ DeMarco's The Millionaire Fastlane and its core promise of accelerated wealth.
Right off the bat, we're hit with an uncomfortable question. What if save for 40 years is actually a trap? Think about it. We accept this traditional advice completely blindly, don't we? Go to school, get a degree, get a job, and essentially sign up for a 40-year subscription to mediocrity. We are literally trading 5 days of our week just to buy 2 days of freedom on the weekend. We've been sold this script that says wealth is something you only get to enjoy in the twilight of your life, and hey, that's assuming you even make it there in good health.
But here's the thing. Accelerated wealth is a structural reality. It's not magic, and it's definitely not some shady scam. It's a reality based on pure math, leverage, and systems. If you can shift your mindset from being just a consumer to becoming a creator, compressing a lifetime of wealth building into a few intense years of focused effort is entirely achievable.
Okay, let's move to part 1, the myth of slow wealth.
So there are 2 really common traps that keep us stuck on a never-ending treadmill. First up, the sidewalk. This is the path of immediate gratification. You make money, you spend money. You buy that flashy car on credit, upgrade your phone every single year, and basically live entirely for the weekend with zero financial plan. Then there's the slow lane. This is where you get a steady job, save 10% of your modest salary, invest in mutual funds, and just pray that inflation doesn't eat your life savings by the time you hit 65. The big problem? Both paths put your destiny entirely out of your control. Are you living paycheck to paycheck on the sidewalk, or hoping a slow lane 401k will somehow make you wealthy in 4 decades?
Which brings us to part 2. Which road are you actually on?
Enter the fast lane. This is the ultimate goal. It's a distinct, powerful alternative to traditional employment, and it's all about control and leverage. It's not about what your boss decides you're worth, or what the stock market happens to return this year. It's about building or acquiring scalable, ownership-based income systems that produce wealth rapidly. You have to become a producer instead of just a consumer. You're building a machine that prints value for others, which in turn captures wealth for you.
Let's hit part 3, the time for money ceiling. The number 24. This brilliantly illustrates the hard ceiling on your life. There are only 24 hours in a day, right? Which means any income tied directly to your time is permanently capped. I mean, think about it. Even if you're a highly paid lawyer charging $500 an hour, you still have to sleep, you have to eat, you can only bill so many hours in a single day. The math dictates an absolute ceiling on your earning potential. When you trade time for money, your wealth is intrinsically tethered to a finite, depleting resource, your lifespan.
Let's look at this comparison. Take a local freelancer, say a graphic designer who bills by the hour. They stop earning the exact minute they catch the flu, or take a vacation, or simply need to sleep. Their scalability is incredibly low because it requires their physical presence. But look at a software creator. They build an app once, and they can sell it 1,000,000 times. That app can be bought by someone in Tokyo while the creator is fast asleep in New York. The earning potential becomes uncapped because the income is totally divorced from their direct hours.
Okay, moving right along to part 4, building systems that scale.
You need to build systems, not just a job for yourself. The crucial point here is that even entrepreneurship can be a huge trap if you build a business that can't function without your constant daily involvement. Say you open a neighborhood bakery. If you have to be the one there at 4 a.m. every single morning to bake the bread, ring up customers, and mop the floors, well, you haven't built a fast-lane business. You've just bought yourself a grueling 90-hour-week job. Genuine wealth requires building systems, hiring teams, and establishing processes so the business runs and grows whether you are physically in the building or not.
Check out this chart. It visually illustrates what we call the law of affection. Your wealth is directly proportional to the scale of people you provide genuine value to. If you impact a small number of people, say 10 local customers, you make a small amount of money. But if you solve a problem for 1,000,000 global users, you will become a millionaire. It is literally that simple. You have to think beyond your local neighborhood and ask yourself, how can my solution, my product, or my service reach a massive global audience? Let's look at part 5, the 5 fast-lane pathways.
So how do we actually execute this in the real world? Here are 5 concrete fast-lane pathways to evaluate your next big idea against. First, rentals.
This means creating recurring revenue from an asset, like real estate or leasing equipment. Second, software and computer systems. That's the ultimate digital scale. Third, content. Creating media, books, or IP that you create once and sell infinitely. Fourth, distribution. Moving products to the masses, kind of like Amazon does. And fifth, human resources. Building organizations and managing teams that do the heavy lifting for you. If your business idea doesn't fit into one of these highly scalable categories, you are very likely veering right back into the slow lane.
Moving on to part 6, the reality of real wealth.
What's really interesting here is the contrast between endless perfect planning and isolation and the speed of execution with real market feedback. Moving quickly on a reasonably good idea will absolutely always beat trying to formulate a flawless plan in your bedroom. The marketplace doesn't care about your 50-page business plan. It cares about action. It cares about value. The most successful fastlaners launch early, they embrace failure, they listen to what their actual customers are telling them, and they pivot. Execution is everything. An imperfect system that's actively running is infinitely more valuable than a perfect idea that only exists in your head.
You also need to control your financial education directly, because schools rarely teach how scalable wealth is built. Seeking out self-directed education, mentorship, and studying real entrepreneurs is pretty much mandatory. Traditional education is designed to produce great employees for the slow lane. It teaches you how to follow rules, not how to build systems. So to thrive in the fast lane, you have to take absolute ownership of your own learning. Read voraciously, listen to experts, seek out mentors who have done what you want to do, and view the real world as your ultimate classroom.
Now let's look at this timeline. Fastlane wealth still requires sustained effort and time. It is a rigorous process, not a get-rich-quick event. Let's be real. Do not confuse accelerated with effortless. Building a scalable system requires a massive upfront investment of time, energy, and hustle. You might work for months or even years building value without seeing a single dime. But unlike the slow lane, where that effort is a permanent state of being, in the fast lane, that upfront grind eventually reaches a tipping point. Once the system is built, the wealth compounds exponentially.
And this brilliantly illustrates the ultimate, uncompromising truth you must take away from this explainer today. If your physical presence is required to generate $1, you are effectively trapped. You have to step back, evaluate your current trajectory, and start building the machine that runs while you sleep.
So, my final question to you is, what system will you start building today? Are you going to remain on the sidewalk chasing the weekend, or settle for the slow lane and just hope for the best at age 65? It's time to take control and embrace the challenge. Remember, you can't get rich renting out your own hours. Real wealth comes from systems that work without you.